This episode of Tep Stepp is presented by Cover Zero Analytics, the leaders in next-level football data. Cover Zero delivers predictive matchup previews, classification-based grading, and customized analysis to football coaches who want more than the same old breakdown of tendencies. With Cover Zero, football coaches now have a tool that can measure all aspects of their team's performance. Cover Zero is built entirely around smarter data analysis, helping thousands of coaches find winning edges that don't always appear in film study. If you're a football coach looking for an extra advantage, Cover Zero invites you to join the hundreds of premier programs that have taken their scouting intel to the next level. Ready to see how the best teams win? Start with Cover Zero Analytics. Find out more at coverzeroanalytics.com. That's coverzeroanalytics.com. Literally, if you are in a place, VNA, we will roast you for it. Tep Stepp, your premium Texas high school football podcast from your friends at Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. I am the Tep Greg Tepper.
I am your international high school football person, Matt Stepp.
Person.
Yeah. I'm in Canada. Baby. I'm in Canada, and I'm all discombobulated.
That's okay. Yeah, you're the exchange rate.
The metric system is just completely throwing me off right now.
Right.
You know, it's Celsius temperature. It's just all bad.
Terrible. Anyway, we are also joined right over, can I do it correctly, right here by tiny VNA Moreno.
Yes, Steph has
there she is. Wait, it's on my view, I'm pointing at the right place. Anyway, whatever.
Let's go opposite.
Opposite, like there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm learning more and more about StreamYard every day. This is your 2025 Class 4A and Class 3A preview edition of Tep Stepp. We do thank you for being a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber or for being a freeloader and watching us for free on YouTube on Wednesday. Coming up here in just a moment, Matt Stepp and I will do a deep dive. We're getting out the shovels. We're going deep.
Yeah.
To talk every region of Class 3A and Class 4A. The middle
we're going team by team here. We're going to start with Anthony and just work our way.
First up, the Anthony Wildcats.
I think they're 2A. No, they're 3AD too. Yeah, they're 3AD.
I think they're 3AD too. That might actually be the first team we would talk about. Yeah. We will go region by region, giving you all of that goodness of the middle class of Texas high school football. Kind of that mid-tier, or not mid-tier. The quality is excellent, but like as far as size is concerned.
Yeah, your medium-sized schools.
Medium-sized schools.
We're going to wrap it all up with Zapata right at the end, right?
Exactly right.
We're going to go A to Z, baby. Let's go.
A to Z. But first, Matthew, we will start, as we always do, with your Texas high school football fun fact of the week presented by Cover Zero Analytics.
The smart people at Cover Zero.
Let me tell you something. Like I like to think of myself as a football expert, right? A Texas high school football a guru, somebody who digs in deep, a ball knower as far as Texas high school football is concerned.
Call ourselves ball knowers now. Okay, I like it.
Let me tell you something though. Compared to those nerds at Cover Zero Analytics, I am dumb as hell.
Yeah. I would agree with that. You are a ball. I will call you a ball knower, but you are not on the ball knowing level of Cover Zero.
No.
I mean, it's just. How could you? You be?
You're talking about trends. You're talking about. You talk with coaches who use Cover Zero Analytics at coverzeroanalytics.com, and they will tell you they are telling me things about my team that I didn't even know. And these are guys who are like eating, sleeping, and breathing about their team. Yeah. And Cover Zero Analytics is coming in and basically like, hey, here are those ways to get that extra 1 or 2% of what you're doing.
And as you know, the difference between making the playoffs and missing the playoffs, winning a state championship, losing those margins get real slim in the playoffs. Get every edge you can, and that edge can be provided by Cover Zero.
The inches we need are all around us, Matthew. To quote a great man, it is coverzeroanalytics.com. Go check them out. They're fine work if you want to go to the next level on your Texas high school football team. Matthew, your Texas high school football fun fact of the week. This is definitely not from our friends at Cover Zero Analytics because this is a dumb question, but I think I'm going to get you on it. Okay.
Oh boy. Okay.
So there are, as you know, 10 reigning UIL Texas high school football state champions in the 11-man ranks. Matt Stepp, according to latitude and longitude, what are the northernmost, southernmost, easternmost, and westernmost reigning state champs in UIL 11-man football?
Oh, okay. Northernmost.
Think carefully.
It's only 11-man, right?
It's only UIL 11-man.
Okay, so good. Okay, all right. So 6-man is out. Okay, 11-man, northernmost. I'm thinking of the champions now.
I did some research.
Yeah, you went deep into your bag here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good one.
Yeah, I'm literally trying to go into my head and remember who won state. Southernmost. It's got to be Smithson Valley in the southernmost, right? Smithson Valley.
It is not Smithson Valley. Strike one.
Okay. Well, latitude and longitude kind of.
Uh-huh.
There's a curve. There's a curve there.
The Earth is round, and it's really hurting you right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm a flat earther. You know, it's what I am, right?
You reject the premise of this question.
Yeah. Write that down. Yeah, I reject it altogether. Flat earther. Dinosaurs didn't exist. We didn't land on the moon. It's all easternmost. I'm gonna go Richmond Randall here, just because I think maybe Randall, Carthage.
Strike two.
Damn it.
Okay.
All right. Westernmost. Who won 2A last year? Jeez, I'm struggling here. You know what? Southernmost is Ganado, isn't it?
Southernmost is Ganado. They are the southernmost.
Southernmost is Ganado. Who won 2AD2? Is Munster the furthest west?
And we have our strike three.
Dang.
Matthew,
right.
You got it. The southernmost is the Ganado Indians, 2A Division 1.
All right.
The easternmost is the Carthage Bulldogs.
Oh, okay. I overthought that one. I thought it was Carthage, and I was like, well, maybe they're the bend of the state. But you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, Carthage. Okay.
The northernmost is the Gunner Tigers. Are the farthest north.
They're further north than Munster?
They are by degrees of I guess that's latitude, longitude, whatever it is, the one that goes up and down.
I'm rejecting science today.
Okay, so the Gunner is the northernmost, and the westernmost, Matthew, is the Smithson Valley Rangers.
You know what? Smithson Valley in San Antonio in general is further west than you think. It is not directly south of Austin. Like it is southwest of Austin. So
it is.
Okay. I
there you go.
All right.
So the four corners of the Texas high school football state right now: east to Carthage, west to Smithson Valley, north to Gunner, and south to Ganado. There it is.
Terrible.
Your Texas high school football fun fact. And you call yourself a Texas high school football expert.
Well, you know, not a geography expert by any means.
You know, I won my 4th grade geography bee at Crabapple Crossing Elementary School. There's a fun fact.
We did that on a throw pillow.
Absolutely, I did. I won my 4th grade geography bee.
Yeah,
it's great. Anyway, that is your Texas high school football fun fact of the week. All right, Matthew, it is time to start digging in to Class 3A and Class 4A. We're going to go smallest to largest per usual. And then next week, we will have our Class 5A preview. And the week after that, our Class 6A preview. And then, baby, it's week 1. Then we're rocking and rolling.
Then it's the game draft. We're doing the game draft.
It's the game draft. We're back, baby. We're so back. We will start in 3A Division 2. And it's funny that, like, if you are just a casual and you're just checking in on Texas high school football right now and you're like, oh, I don't pay attention to what goes on in the offseason, you might look at 3A Division 2 and be like, no, just, you know, another year Gunner on top. You know, the more things change, the more they stay the same. I would contend to you that because of all of the things that did transpire in the offseason, it makes 3A Division 2 Really interesting. Now, for those who don't know, Gunner had a coaching change, a surprise coaching change. Jake Fizzell stepped down rather abruptly, and offensive coordinator Jordan Gill took over. Now, it's an internal hire. They're the 3-time defending state champs. And
great chance at a four-peat. I mean,
and in my mind,
breaking news.
In my mind, the favorite to four-peat.
Sure.
I think that's the reason they start the year number 1 in Dave Campbell's Texas football. However, I would also say that for the first time in maybe a hot minute, the chief threat to Gunner's reign doesn't come from their half of the bracket. I think it comes from whoever they may see in a state championship game. Now, there are threats on the left side of the bracket,
sure,
but I do think that there are bona fide certified teams that can beat them in a title game on that right side of the bracket.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've really seen it maybe since when Newton kind of was rolling those years when they, even before Franklin moved up to D1. Yeah, yes, Franklin was. Yeah, Franklin and Newton. I forget Franklin was D2 for a little while there, but yeah, I think we're talking. It's been there's been some matchups at state where Gunner just overwhelmed the team on the right side of the bracket. The bowling year, Paul Pewitt. Gunner was just better than those teams. I mean, last year Woodville. Great story. Woodville Gunner was clearly the better football team. So I think this year, if the right teams can come out of a loaded, especially Region 4, I think we could have a really fun matchup if Gunner is able to get to the state championship game. But I'm gonna tell you, I don't think it's a guarantee Gunner gets back to the state championship.
Hey now,
there's a team in Region 1 that gave Gunner all they wanted and then some last year in a state semifinal, and I think there's a good chance we see round 2 this year. That's the Wall Hawks.
So we'll get to them. In fact, that's where we'll start. What a great segue, Matthew.
Look at that.
Professional segue
broadcaster here.
3A Division 2 Region 1. For the first time in what feels like forever, Canadian didn't win Region 1. But they and to be clear, Canadian fell, I think, to a better team. I don't think that there's really any doubt that the Wall Hawks were better than Canadian last year.
Absolutely.
They beat them 49-3 in the regional final. That's sound.
Pretty thorough. That Canadian is used to beating teams like that in the regional final, and the whip got kind of reversed on them last year. And I think that just goes to show you how good that Wall Hawks team was last year. And what was really impressive is they did that in their first year of transitioning from a flex bone offense to the spread. And they adjusted like it was nothing. I mean, Landon York, the quarterback, had a monster season. He's back. Speed. That's the thing I think about with Wall. They are fast. And I think this Wall team has a chance to be as good, if not better than last year's team, especially on the offensive side of the ball. The key for them is going to be the defensive side of the ball, replacing 7 starters. But offensively, this could be the most explosive team in all of Class 3A.
Landon York is, I think, one of the early favorites to be the 3A Built for Tough Player of the Year. This guy has been electrifying. The numbers he puts up, their offense is going to be spectacular. Now, I don't think I think Canadian. I don't know. This feels like a really important year for Canadian to just kind of prove that last year was, hey, you got your shots in, you got, Andy Cavalier back now. But the interesting thing about them, though,
they're going to be young. They only got 7 starters.
Real young.
7 totals. This is going to be a little bit. And talking to folks in the Panhandle, they kind of said the next, kind of after 2023, 2022, that they kind of thought Canadian would take they're still going to be very good. But are we talking Region 1 good, where they're kind of a team that's going to go 3-4 deep and contend within the region, or are they state good? I don't know if they're state good, and that's kind of why I'm not. I think this is going to be another one of those kind of transitional years for Canadian where they're good. They're in the mix in Region 1, but I don't think they're. I think the gap between Wall and the rest of the region is pretty significant here.
I would maybe keep an eye on Idalou. That's another team that was a 10-win team from a year ago. That was a team that the thing about them, though, I think they're going to have some speed. Will Idalou, but and that has kind of become the coin of the realm now in Region 1, which is interesting. but they're going to be really young up front, and that's going to be hard to overcome. Go ahead.
District 2, I think, is the best district across the board. And, you got Idalou, you've got Littlefield, you've got Lubbock Roosevelt. District 2 is a really good district. There's 3-4, I think, good teams in this district. The team I'm kind of, if I'm looking for my sleeper to talk about, it's not that, they're one of my hipster picks, Tepper. You saw them at State 707. I think this is a Coahoma. I love this team going into 2025. The Coahoma Bulldogs, they 7-4 last year. They bring back 20 lettermen, 13 starters. They've got one of the best tight ends in the area in Landon Wells. Boyd Cox is back. They've got great receivers, Jaden Henderson, Andre Russian, Lanson Moore. They've got playmakers. The key for Coahoma is going to be they graduated a really productive running back. They got to find they got to find that next guy to step in at running back. But I think Coahoma, we could see Wall-Coahoma Part 2 in a regional final. Like, I don't think it's that far off that Coahoma on the other side of the bracket gets to the regional final and plays Wall again.
The other team that I'm buying some stock in is a team that there might be people that when they take a look at the state rankings, they're like, what in the heck is that a typo? Buddy, I think Slayton's going to be pretty good. I think the Tigers, what Clint Conkin has done there.
He's a great coach.
He is a really good coach.
He did really good things at Clarendon and got that program up and running and kind of had them consistently going toe-to-toe with Wellington there in Class 2A Division II. So I think Slayton's going to have dudes. They're going to have athletes. They're going to have some team speed as well. I think that's a great sleeper as well.
To Region 2 we go, where, like, I don't know, how much time do we need to spend here? I'm trying not to be disrespectful here, but Gunner hasn't lost a regional playoff game in a decade. Like,
it's been a long time. Yeah,
it's been a long time. And by the way, a lot of these games haven't been close.
Yeah, they don't generally play close games in Region 2.
And by the way, it's an opportunity to talk about Gunner because we talk big picture. They are reloading a bit. They only bring back 7 starters from last year's team. I do know, however, that they're really fired up about this new sophomore quarterback, Knox Gage. And everything that I've heard about him, and we all know that at Gunner, you need an operator of the quarterback. There's a reason that, in my opinion, Walker Overman is maybe the best Gunner Tiger of all time, not because he was the best thrower or the best quarterback, so to speak, but he was the best operator of that offense.
Yeah, you don't have to have I think when you're running Gunner's offense, you're almost like the quarterback's the gravy on top, right? He's the bonus pancake, the bonus taco, to the meal, where if you get some production from the quarterback, awesome, that's great. But your job is to run the offense, make the right reads, and distribute the ball in that wide open, in that, not a wide open offense, but in that diverse offense where they spread the ball around a bunch of different guys and utilize their weapons in different ways. So I agree. But I do think Knox Gage has the potential to be a playmaker, especially with his arm, pushing the ball downfield.
I think he can do that, and everything I've heard is that as good as Mitchell Parsley was for them last year at the QB1 spot, Knox Gage is more of a runner. And if you don't need your quarterback to run for 200 yards every game. What you need him to do is be a threat in that running game. And that's what, again, I keep going back to Walker Overman, who will live forever in my mind. But Walker Overman, he was such a threat in the run game that it was like, cool, if you just need 5 yards, you can get it with him. Now, what's interesting, man, let's talk about Holiday, because here's the thing. I think Holiday's really, really, really good. Really good this year. I like this team a lot. They've got, I believe, 12 starters back from last year's team.
Solid foundation returning. I mean, Gunner, if there's a year to get Gunner, it might be this year because this is as young as inexperienced as a Gunner team as we've seen. Now, I do like Gunner's running back, Jay Campty. He really impressed me in that Wall game last year. But Gunner's got a lot of guys to replace. The problem is, I almost feel like at this point, it's obviously it's physical. Gunner has been better than Holiday has been, but last year's game especially, I think Gunner is in Holiday's head mentally, I think there's a mental block there with Holiday. I don't think Gunner was that much better than Holiday last year, but I think they're in Holiday's head a little bit. And until Holiday can get out of that, I just can't take them seriously as a regional threat because Gunner has dominated them so much.
Holiday, since 2017, Gunner has played Holiday 8 times. They are 8-0, and the closest game they played was in 2019 in their district game when they beat them 20-7.
Yeah, the playoff games have generally been. There may have been one that was like relatively close, but most of the time Gunners handled them pretty easily in the playoffs.
Now, I will say also that within their own Holiday's own district, and again, I like them a lot. I think they're they're a top 10 team. But I look at Jacksboro as a team with a ton coming back, including, you could make an argument, the most decorated quarterback in this class in Y.A. Gavitt. This dude is unbelievable. He threw for like 3,600 yards last year.
Yeah, Jacksboro, is going to be in the mix. Casey Hubble's done such a good job there with that program, and they've got a guy in Gavitt. Now they got to replace some guys around Gavitt, but they've got the trigger man there at Jacksboro. I am really intrigued by Wichita Falls City View this year. Malachi Williams, he's more of your athlete at quarterback. He had 41 touchdowns last year, almost 2,000 yards passing, over 1,100 yards rushing. They've got a great player in their defensive lineman, Jaden Bradford. City View's got a lot of team speed, a lot of athleticism, which makes them a tough matchup. They're playing for something bigger than themselves. After the passing of Coach Heath Regal this offseason, new head coach Akeem Leviston has come in. He was at Whitesboro as their offensive coordinator, helped get that program going. It was set last year at Ferris. I think if they can adjust to Coach Lev and his new system, I think City View is a dangerous team there in Region 2. It could be maybe the chief challenger to Gunner overall.
Now, I'll give you one other team, and people are going to laugh. Cedar Hill TLC, guys, okay? Their record last year officially was 1-10. 1-10. That is because if you don't remember, I think they got caught with an ineligible player and basically had to forfeit like 9 games and win their final game to get into the playoffs as like a 4th place team. I will just tell you, they bring back 17 starters from last year's team. They bring back the running back in Corbin Jones, the quarterback in London Cook. They bring back a lot on defense, including Javen Shields. Keep an eye on them. That is a team that you're going to look at the record from last year and be like, that team, what are we even talking about here? Just keep an eye on Cedar Hill TLC.
Yeah. One thing I worry about with TLC is the late coaching change. So their previous head coach left and went to Grand Prairie to be the offensive coordinator. Kenny Wooten comes in from Frisco Centennial. Place like Cedar Hill TLC, charter school, you could have some guys leave during the coaching change. So see if all those guys are there, kind of see what they have. Their lack of playoff pedigree and experience, I think, will hurt them outside. I think their district, they can ease. I think at worst, they're finishing second. I think Scurry Rosser beat them last year. I think Scurry Rosser's got enough to hold them off. But, outside the district, I think maybe one round in the playoffs. If I'm looking for a team kind of outside that, I like Brady a lot. I think Brady is really intriguing. And I think out of District 5, I think them and Toller. Toller had a great debut in 3A Division II, moving up under first-year head coach Blake Mauser. They graduated a lot, though, so I think Brady could be poised to make a little noise there in District 5.
To Region 3, to the other side of the bracket, and I hesitate to say this because we are going to talk about Region 4 here in a moment, but perhaps the deepest and most unpredictable region in 3A Division II here in Region 3. Because remember, this is the team that did field the state finals from a year ago in upstart Woodville.
who didn't even win their own district last year. You got to remember that. Newton beat Woodville. That's where matchups come into play, where Newton beat Woodville in district play. Dangerfield beats Newton in the playoffs, and then Woodville beats Dangerfield in the playoffs. So it all comes down to matchups. But Woodville's got a new head coach. Ty Robinson goes to Crawford. Heath Clausen comes in from Elgin. So it'll be interesting to see how Woodville adjusts to the new coaching staff in a tough region. Because I think Region 3, top to bottom, has a lot of good teams. Tepper, I am going to sound the bells for the Troop Tigers here. Oh, yeah? I think Troop is the team to watch in Region 3. I think Sam Wells does a great job there. They've got quite a bit returning out of East Texas. They're a tough district. Obviously, New Diana won that district a year ago, but I think this could be the year of Troop. They bring back 9 starters on both sides of the ball. Brett Wells, their speedy running back, is back. James Pierce at wide receiver. They've got playmakers all over the board. 9 starters back on both sides of the ball. I'm pushing the chips in on Troop this year.
I like Troop a lot, but like it's hard to look past Newton. And it's hard to look past because, like, this is going to stun you guys, but, like, Newton's got another running back, Kendra Porter Jr., who was just a sophomore last year.
No way.
And
Newton's got a running back.
Unbelievable. They can't keep getting away with it. Braylon Patterson, Deldrick Samuel, their quarterback. Newton feels pretty loaded. Now, we've said that in the past years, but this is in talking with Drew Johnston there, this is the biggest senior class they've had in quite a while. And that should be really encouraging, I think, for fans.
Yeah, I agree, and I think Newton is right there in the mix. I think Newton and Troop potentially could play in the third round of the playoffs. That would be a whale of a football game. There's a lot of other good teams. I mean, we talked about Woodville a little bit. We talked about Dangerfield. Can I interest you in a little decab?
Yeah, the Bears are for real, man.
Great year last year, going to the third round of the playoffs, kind of their first kind of deep playoff push. They're in the same district with Dangerfield, so they're going to have to they're going to be battle tested going into the playoffs. But when I look at the Bears up there, near Texarkana, I see a team that really could, Dom Dunn, their running back, 5'10", 210, 88 tackles, 800 yards rushing, and then their outstanding wide receiver, Caden Weary. This is a team, they were 11-2 last year. They don't have a ton of depth. They don't have a ton of numbers, but they have a lot of quality. 14 starters returning there for the DeKalb Bears.
And then I think there's a really good crop of teams just maybe right outside that with Grand Saline and with ARP and with New Diana and with Edgewood, right? It's a really deep year in Region 3. And like, while I think there are some favorites, it also feels like when we get to the playoffs, we're going to have good football every single week.
Yes. Jet Taylor, the quarterback for Grand Saline, had a monster year. They've got a Prox over there. Anytime there's a Prox in Kaufman County, you got to watch out for him. That family has produced players at Grand Saline, Canton, Kaufman, Crandall, Scurry, Rosser. Proxes, if you got a Prox, they have one there at Grand Saline as well. Edgewood, new head coach, Coach Bechtel, Kevin Bechtel, coming over from Howard Payne, back to the high school ranks there at Edgewood. Edgewood's going to be explosive on offense. You mentioned New Diana, DeJuan Johnson, their quarterback, but they got a new head coach as well.
DeJuan Johnson's unbelievable.
Because Jason Pitts left and went to Ozona, so New Diana has a new head coach. It's Kerry Lane, the former Gilmer assistant, who was a head coach at Longview Pine Tree not too long ago. So Region 3, you mentioned it. I think in round 1 of the playoffs, we are going to have some fun playoff matchups. Usually in the small schools, that first round, there's a lot of mismatches, right? There's not a lot of depth. Region 3, if you're looking for good small school playoff football in round 1, Region 3, 3A Division 2 is your place.
To Region 4, and speaking of they can't keep getting away with it, David Lucio at Tidehaven, he can't keep getting away with it. Every year, they were kind of party crashers into the state championship game a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And then we thought, okay, well, that was fun. They graduated really heavy. We'll see.
It's going to be a rebuilding year.
It's going to be a rebuild. All they do is go to the state semifinals and play the eventual state finals Woodville within a score. And by the way, they were decidedly, like no question about it, a year early last year. Well, they are right on time in 2025.
Yep.
This Tidehaven Tigers team can win the state championship.
25 lettermen returning, 17 starters, state 7-on-7 champs. They've got a 4-year starter at quarterback in Cale Russell. And when you've got a guy named Boogie. You're going to do some damage. Boogie Galvan, their wide receiver, but playmaker, TJ Galvan. They've got dudes all over the place. Tidehaven is for real. They are the threat. They are the favorite in Region 4, and I think the biggest threat to win a state championship. But there's some potholes here. Region 4 is good. Including,
I think, a guy who is going to be fighting for a spot as one of my favorite players in the state in Case Evans at Lexington. The quarterback. He's just plain and simple. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the state. He's unbelievable. And at the 3A level, he's borderline unfair.
Yeah, and the key for Lexington is going to be what they put around Case Evans. Last year they were deep. They had a good group of skill players around him, and they got all the way to the regional final before falling to Tidehaven 35-21. The problem is Lexington around Evans is going to be young, but Evans is good enough to put that team on his back and take them a long way. I think they're a threat. You got to keep an eye on East Bernard. You got to keep an eye on Poth. I think there's better depth than you think in Region 4, and there's a sleeper that if they pick it up, what do we always say, Tepper? Let's ask VNA this. VNA, what is the devil?
The slot T.
Oh, she's learning.
Slot T is the devil.
You've been infected.
Kent Walker to Blanco. If Blanco can get that slot T, that timing, that tempo that their offensive coordinator, Paul Kilby, fellow Canadian, by the way, Paul Kilby, get that going, Blanco could be a real threat in Region 4 because that slot T offense is a real equalizer. And you pair that with the kind of kids Blanco has, it could be a match made in heaven.
One other team that I've really got my eye on, and they're in the wrong district because they're there with Tidehaven and East Bernard, but I love Van Vleck. If you're a believer in finishing hot, this is a team that you did not want to play in the playoffs. You did not want to play late in the year. They bring back Devin Barnes, who they're moving he's like an all-district tight end. They're moving him to quarterback. They got Connor Garrison, who's a two-way star, Elijah Suarez. This is a team that brings back 15 starters from a team that was white hot at the end of the year.
They beat Blanco in the first round of the playoffs in a 4-1. The thing about Van Vleck, they bring a lot back. They lose a 3,000-yard running back in Corey Washington.
Yes.
And in that offense, they run the slot T as well. They're going to have to. That's the big question. They're going to be fascinated because they bring back everything else, but they lose the head of the snake, so to speak, in Corey Washington.
Matt Stepp, give me your 3A Division II regional picks and your state champion.
All right, Region 1, I'm going Wall. Region 2, I'm going Gunner. Region 3, I'm going Troop. Region 4, I'm going Tidehaven. And I am going to go in the state championship game. Give me Tidehaven over Wall.
Whoa! Okay.
Championship game, Tidehaven and Wall. That's going to be fun. You got Concho Valley versus the Crossroads. Let's make it happen.
I'm going to go pretty chalky here. I'm going to go with Wall in Region 1.
Chalky Tepper. Here we go.
I'm going to go with Gunner in Region 2. I like Newton in Region 3, although Dangerfield and DeKalb are both really interesting to me, but I like Newton. And then Region 4, I am going to go with Tidehaven, with apologies to my boy Case Evans in Lexington. And in a state championship, I think it is a rematch of the 2023 state championship, and Gunner gets an historic four-peat over Tidehaven. I like Gunner over Tidehaven in the title game. So there you have it, our 3A Division II state championship. On to 3A Division I, Matthew, where last year, I think it was, looking back on last year, Columbus runs to a state championship. In a lot of ways, there were some really good teams out there, but by the time we got to the end, when you took a look back, you were like, boy, it does feel like a Columbus coronation. It felt like, yep, that's the best team. I think as soon as they added Grayson Rigdon and they added that running game to it, it was like it's going to be really hard for to beat them, especially in the playoffs. You know, obviously they lost to Hitchcock in that terrific game, but now you look at 3A Division I. Columbus starts in number 1 to start the year. I think by virtue of just how dominant they were last year, and respect must be paid. However, they are hammered by graduation, at least at the star positions, like at least at the star power.
Sure.
And I would contend to you, Matthew, that 3A Division I is one of the rare classifications without a favorite. And in fact, I think there's about 5 or 6 teams that could win it.
Yeah. I think in most years, if Columbus wouldn't have been ranked number 1 just because there'd have been a team that we could say, okay, but it's so wide open. You almost had a default to Columbus, especially with if people forget last year how good Columbus was. They lost a Division I defensive end, Anthony Shorter, who signed with Sam Houston State, like first game of the season, if not in the scrimmage. And then they had a starting offensive lineman tragically pass away in the middle of the year. So that they dealt with a lot and still dominated on the way to a state championship. So the cover's not bare at Columbus. They've got all 5 offensive linemen back. They've got a bona fide stud at wide receiver, whose name is escaping me.
Braylon Fisher.
Braylon Fisher. Thank you, Greg Tepper. Back. They're going to have a Schobel at quarterback. It's not Adam Schobel. It's going to be a different Schobel. But if you got a Schobel at quarterback and you're in Columbus, you're going to be okay. So Columbus is going to be fine, but we'll see kind of how it all comes together. I look at the statewide picture, and I agree. I think there's as many as a dozen teams that can win a state championship this year. It's that wide open.
I think it's the most – right now I would put 3A Division I as perhaps the most unpredictable classification in all of Texas high school football. We will start in 3A Division I, Region 1, where this – if you want to talk about a region that may be a bit emblematic of that, look at Region 1. You do have a team – that we have ranked number 3 in the state, that was within a play of beating the eventual state finalists in the state semifinals, and that's Paradise. Now, Paradise is a team that, like the rise has been steady, it has been consistent. The question is, was last year a crest, or is there another step in this trajectory? I will tell you, with 11 starters coming back. It's really interesting. It really is like I can make an argument either way. Yeah. On one hand, I could look at it and say, guys, like they are getting really hammered on the lines. They lose a ton of talent from up front, and that was really their a lot of what they did last year was predicated on just winning up front and their size. On the other hand, you could say, okay, they bring back Luke Brown at the running back spot. They bring back Elijah Jennings, a 2-way star. They Aiden Olalde, their quarterback, is back.
Luke Brown had a huge year at running back. The skill is there for Paradise.
So you can make a real argument either way for Paradise. What's interesting, though, is that I do think, even if the rankings don't necessarily show it, I think there's a couple of teams that if you want to be a doubter, there are a couple of teams you can be like, oh yeah, like for example, I think Shallow Water is a team that is going to be a real problem in Region 1. And, obviously they ran to the regional final last year, so I'm not necessarily going out on a limb, but I will tell you that I like what the Shallow Water team brings back, even if the numbers don't necessarily bear that in mind. Just 7 starters back.
Seven total, or I thought Shallow Water brought back like 12. But maybe I'm wrong.
You tell me. I think Shallow Water is a threat.
Oh, you're right. 7 starters.
I also think Jim Ned is a threat as well.
That's the one I'm interested in. Jim Ned, they lost to Paradise 10-7 in the regional semifinals last year. Absolute old school rock fight type of football game. I think Jim Ned's a team really to keep an eye on. I do like Shallow Water a lot as well. I think Sweetwater could be a team that if they new head coach, if they can get things kind of pointed in the right direction. They were a little disappointing last year, but they bring back 17 starters, so they're going to be a lot better this year. I think Vernon is a team to really keep an eye on. I think the Vernon Lions could, inside of that really tough District 4-3-1, Vernon's got playmakers. Ty Scott, their dynamic quarter. That one thing about Vernon, they're going to have playmakers at the skill spots, and they've got it in bunches this year. They've got they got Ty Scott, True Gibson, Jamari Chance. They've got a kind of a 3-headed monster there at Vernon. The key for the Lions is going to be, especially on the defensive line, can they grow up? Can those young guys make the plays needed? But Vernon, I think, is a team to really keep an eye on as well.
Region 1 is going to be a lot of fun. If you want to put your eggs in the Paradise basket, I think you're well within your rights. And also, I think there's a number of teams that could up and get them. Speaking of a region with a team that won the region last year and the past few years and has some reloading to do, let's go to Region 2, where you may remember Malakoff won this region last year and went to the state championship game. I am not in the business of doubting Jamie Driscoll because that is a ball-knowing dude, an official ball knower. We're going to send him the little pin that he can put on his chest during game. Ball knower.
You know how we do? We're going to do. We talk about doing helmet stickers for Mr. Texas. We need head coach ball knower pins. Yeah. He's a ball knower. If they're to win the region again, this will be his greatest accomplishment. Yes.
Because this team got absolutely hammered by Graduation, whether it is at the skill spots and the playmakers like quarterback Mike Jones, or in the nuts and bolts. Like, this is a team that got wiped out by Graduation. When you graduate, when you graduate as much as they did, it's a full-on reload there.
Yeah, Malakoff's going to be good. I think this year they're going to be. I think if they can get to Thanksgiving weekend, that's a really successful season for them this year. I don't think they're a regional contender. Mm-hmm. If he gets them past Thanksgiving weekend, again, amazing coaching job. Don't worry. We're not burying Malakoff. I think they're going to be really good, and they've got some good younger groups coming. They're a little bit of a transition this year. Mm-hmm. I think this. I'm big on Jefferson this year. Mm-hmm. I think Jefferson, especially considering what Liberty Ilo lost to Graduation and to key offseason transfers, I think Jefferson is ready to take that next step. And if you remember, they gave Malakoff all they wanted in the third round of the playoffs. They gave Malakoff a much tougher game than Liberty Ilo did in the regional final. So Ty Taylor in his second year there at Jefferson, they've got to replace a Division I running back. Cam Williams graduated. They got to replace him. But everywhere else, I think Jefferson Bulldogs are ready to make a move.
You mentioned Liberty Ilo. They're a fascinating ball club because last year they were obviously really impressive, but you mentioned they graduate heavy, and right after we went to press,
a cover boy graduate.
Cover boy, Daquan Prevost. There's a great story about a guy who doesn't play here anymore in the magazine. He transferred essentially across the state to Fayetteville High School in Arkansas. Yeah. That's a huge loss. I mean, that's a full-on blue-chip wide receiver that you're losing.
Yeah, that's a 4-star.
Yeah.
I think he's an Arkansas commit. I think he's committed to Arkansas, too.
And so I am interested to see what the coaching staff there can do. I'm not burying them. They're more than just one guy, but they were already going to be a team that we had questions about as far as reloading is concerned. Now you add in the loss of Prevost, it gets even steeper.
Liberty Ilo's got some really good younger groups coming. Those guys are probably going to have to play key roles earlier than maybe a lot of folks would have hoped. But they're still going to be good. But I think maybe 2026, 2027, if they can stay 3A, that's a whole other topic. Realignment's coming, baby. But if they stay 3A, watch out. What do you think about Winsboro?
I'm in. I'm so in. Because do you know what they are? And I will tell you, this has all the makings of the Tep Stepp Cut the Brakes Team of the Year.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Okay? Because Winsboro's got Camden Capehart, a one of our favorite players around the Dave Campbell's offices.
I saw him as a sophomore, and Winsboro made the regional finals in 2023.
Yes,
lost to Malakoff at Forney. And Camden Capehart, as a sophomore, got behind Malakoff a couple of times, and you were like, whoa, that kid is fast. I mean, he's running a 10-200 Mississippi State commit. There might not be a more explosive outside receiver in the state of Texas than Camden Capehart at any classification. He's that good.
Between Noli Carroll, their quarterback they bring back Nary Castleberry, who was like the guy forgotten in this, but this was a guy who was the district newcomer of the year last year. Braxton Espinoza, they are going to score. I don't know how they're going to stop people.
That's the question. Winsboro scored 70 points 3 times last year. Like, they are absolutely the number one candidate for the Tep Stepp Cut the Brakes Team of the Year in 2025.
Yeah. I mean, they lost last year in the playoffs in the regional semifinal to Liberty Ilo 56-49. Like,
that was a game that Liberty Ilo was up like 49-7 at one point, and they damn near came back and won that game. Like, it's just, listen, if you're a fan of wild ass football,
yes,
go watch a wins. And hey, I know you already kind of have plans for week 1 Thursday night. Can I interest you possibly week 1 Thursday night in Winsboro, Tatum versus Winsboro?
Oh,
just saying.
I could see myself there. I can see myself there.
I'm just saying. Just throw that for you.
It'd be fun. If they're going to be the Tep and Stepp cut the breaks team of the year, it may be.
Go watch Whitney Keeling and the flex bone against Winsboro's offense, and let's just say 63-56 and call it a night.
Region 3 is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really, really interesting. I think especially those top 4 are going to be fighting it out in a big way. All right, on to region 3. On to region 3, which is where Columbus lives. We mentioned Columbus. You said they're gonna have a Schobel at quarterback. That's always a good sign whenever they've got Schobel at quarterback. They've got Braylon Fisher back, but I mean they are losing 4 FBS signees from a 3A Division I team. I mean that's crazy.
It's a lot.
Crazy. And by the way, they are also losing the guy who was one of the most reliable wide receivers last year in Camden Pitchford, who is going to Jack. In fact, he went to Jacksonville State. That's 5.
The FBS?
They just moved up. Yeah.
Jeez. I knew they were that's 5 Division I players at minimum.
But here's what they do have back, okay? They are losing a lot of the like a lot of the headliners.
Yeah.
But a lot of the nuts and bolts, right? Keon Hemphill Woods was like their best 2-way lineman last year. He was their left tackle. He's going to be great. Rylan Carruthers,
he's a Division I prospect. Hemphill Woods is a Division I guy.
Rylan Carruthers is like their linebacker H-back, and he was the guy that if they didn't have John Schobel would be the linebacker we were talking about last year. Brody Sinclairic. This team is not going away, and I think that there's going to be a tendency to look at them and be like, Schobel's gone, Shorter's gone, Pitchford's gone, Rigdon's gone, Schobel's gone, right? By the way, I said Schobel twice because there were 2 of them.
A lot of Schobels in Columbus. They have procreated.
But I think that there are going to be a ton of a lot of the nuts and bolts that are going to keep Columbus competitive. I will say, though, they will have to get through an extremely treacherous region, including, perhaps you forgot, but Franklin, you could make an argument that holistically they run 3A Division I over the last,
they've been the best team in 3A last 4 years for sure. Last year was a quote unquote bump in the road for them, and they only got to the regional finals last year. Lost to Columbus in the regional finals, so they don't have Bubba Jackson anymore. But yes. I feel like Franklin's always got a running back. R.J. Fulton, I think, is ready to step in. He was kind of their Swiss Army knife last year. I think he's going to be their primary ball carrier. Mark Fannon's a hell of a coach. Discount Franklin at your own peril. I think they're going to be right there. They're not going to be the sexiest team. They're not going to have all the flashy guys. But in the end, when it's cold in November and early December and you need to win a playoff game, Franklin's a good team to put your money behind.
And then speaking of
your not literal money, but your internet.
I get you. Your internet money, your sports money.
Yeah.
And then there's Hitchcock, and this is the team I can't figure out because on one hand, they lose much like Columbus, all their star power.
Yes,
it's all gone. Okay, Kelshawn Johnson gone to Texas A&M. Lloyd Jones III gone to Texas Tech. Malcolm Simpson gone to Nebraska.
Yeah.
And yet, buddy, I think their defense is going to be really good.
Right.
And if they can find some punch offensively,
it's
like
so
Craig Smith's team's going to be problematic.
About Hitchcock that they're but we saw it in 7-on-7. There were it's 7-on-7. Hitchcock has been really good in 7-on-7, and that's translated into them being really good on offense in the fall. They struggled this year. They didn't look. They had fits and starts. They were inconsistent. I think it's just youth. They're just young. A lot of new guys having to play key roles. A lot of questions. I think they're going to be good, but I'm not sure Hitchcock even finishes second in this district. I think Yoakum has a chance to leapfrog Hitchcock this year. Yoakum's got dudes.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at them, and we haven't even talked about Palestine Westwood, who may have the best player in the region, and Kavian Bryant, the junior quarterback, who a lot of people think is the number one dual threat quarterback in the class of 2027 in the state of Texas.
I think you're right. You add in Fairfield, who I think is going to be a problem this year. 15 starters back from a team that was really, they were within they beat Orangefield in the first round of the playoffs. That's a team I've got my eye on. Region 3 is deep, and so as much as we want to say that Columbus is not going away, and I don't think they are, they're going to have to earn it through one of the toughest regions in Texas high school football.
Can I mention one more deep cut sleeper that I know Hudson Standish is going to be waving the flag on?
Here we go.
Keep an eye on the Hardin Hornets.
Mm-hmm.
19 starters returned from a 7-4 ball club last year that got better and better under Chad Taylor as the season went along. 9 starters on offense, 10 starters on defense. They lost in the first round of the playoffs to Palestine Westwood. That game was a one-score game. It ended up being 42-33. Hardin led for the majority of that football game. They are dangerous. Keep an eye on Hardin. No one's going to talk about them because they're down there in the Golden Triangle, and they're not going to be the flashiest team. They're very much Franklin-like in how they operate. Just saying. It's August 5th. Keep an eye on Hardin in Region 3, 3A Division 1.
Okay. For Region 4.
Putting the alert out.
Okay. Putting the word out. We're back up. Okay. Region 4. I will simply ask you this question. How many deep do you see the regional contenders in Region 4? Because I think the answer is, I think if you want to say it's only 2 deep, okay, make your case. If you want to say it's 3 deep, okay, make your case. If you want to say it's 4 deep, I think you can make a case. Beyond that, I'd really need to hear that, but I'm curious how deep you think this thing goes.
3.
Okay.
And 2 of them are in the same district.
Yes.
It's Edna, it's Goliad, and it's Ashley Pickle's favorite team, Llano. I think those are the 3 teams that I could see winning Region 4 this year. I think after that, the gap between those 3 and the rest of the region. Last year, I think he could have put Universal City Randolph in there, but they graduated heavy. So I think you've got a 3-horse race in Region 4.
You mentioned Edna. They are the team that won the region last year. They have been the team of record in Region 4. Now they've got Jamie Dixon at the helm, and this is a team that has to replace a lot of their, what's the word I'm looking for? Like just a lot of the guys that made that engine go, especially offensively. I mean, Braylon Harris and Chase Schubert were so good for them last year. Now they've got a guy that we think is the 3A Defensive Player of the Year to start the year in Hunter Buring, who is a dog off the defensive end.
He's got that dog in him.
Keegan Hicks. They're moving Trevor Floyd from safety to quarterback this year. I will say I think they are this is a good Edna team on paper from the outset, but they don't feel invincible.
No,
and
the last 3 years, they've kind of felt invincible in Region 4.
Yeah, in Region 4 they have. Now, I will say, let's talk about Llano. Let's talk about Llano.
Oh, no. Did you call him Lamo? Did you stinky Llano?
No, what? Me? No.
Did you stinkify Llano?
I know Ashley's listening.
I'm going to tell on you.
That's okay.
Snitches.
She can't hurt me. Okay. Let's talk about Llano. This is a really interesting team for Matt Green. Luke Davis, their quarterback, is a 3-year starter as a junior and has gotten better and better, and they've given him more and more. And if you want to buy Llano this year, what you're doing is you're buying that Luke Davis is going to go from a really nice 3A quarterback to great. And there are reports out of Llano that may happen this year.
Yeah, I mean, Llano has consistently been knocking on the door. They made a state semifinal 2020. I guess they lost. They got Jonathan Brooks in that game, but they've made some. They've been a consistent threat in Region 4. You got the experienced quarterback. It's going to be. They got pieces around them. The key from Llano has always been and is going to be how they handled the teams that have better team speed. When they've gotten beat, Hallettsville, Edna, teams have beaten them in the playoffs in Region 4, it's been because those teams just had more talent. Llano couldn't keep up. That's going to be the key for them this year to see that, because Edna and Goliad are going to throw team speed at them. Goliad may have more team speed in the region than anyone. And to me, that's the biggest threat in Region 4, because I think Goliad's the one team that I think that doesn't have a mental block, because they beat Edna in 2023 in district play. They're the one team in Region 4 that's got to win over Edna in recent memory. So I think Goliad. We talked to Kevin Salazar at coaching school. The excitement there is palpable, and I think a lot of people in town feel like this is the year they can break through, because they've got Lamont Franklin, Donovan Perry. And they've got a Zamzow at quarterback, Cord Zamzow at quarterback. When you got a Zamzow and you're at Goliad, you're going to do some things.
Yeah, absolutely. Those Zamzows, they're problematic. The interesting thing, and I think the real question that I was driving at, as far as 3 or 4 deep, is Orange Grove. They are a fascinating ball club to me. They bring back 14 starters. There's a lot to like about this team. And up front, they bring back 4 out of their 5 offensive linemen. But I do think that their defense has at times let them down, and they have to find that groove defensively in a region that will put up points on you, and that's, I think, the real question.
Yeah, I look at Orange. Jared Johnston returning home for his second year. The one thing I say about Orange Grove, they're going to have great numbers. They're a big 3A Division I, kind of borderline 4A. 31 lettermen returning, huge number for that size school. And they're in their second year. Johnston got hired really late last year. If my memory serves, I'm going to look this up, Craig Tepper. I believe he was hired. It may have been late May, early June when he actually took that job. So you look at it, and he's going in May 7th. Okay, he got hired May 7th. Yeah. Off season's basically over. School lets out at the end of May. Off season's basically over. A full off season in his system. They're going to be, they're going to be a lot better. So I do think, if you're looking for a 4th team, Orange Grove is that 4th team. I'm really going to be fascinated with Orange Grove, looking at their non-district slate. They open the season on a Thursday night against Rockport Fulton. That's a good 4A program in Rockport Fulton. Great measuring stick, and then you got the 2 district games against Edna and Goliad. If Orange Grove is competitive in those games, I think you could absolutely count them among the teams to keep an eye on in Region 4.
Totally agree. All right, Matthew, 3A Division I, give me your regional picks and your state championship pick.
Region 1, I'm gonna go Shallow Water. Go Shallow Water, go a little off the board there. Region 2, I'm gonna go Jefferson. Region 3, I'm gonna go chalky as hell and go Franklin. And in Region 4, give me Goliad. And in the state title game, give me Jefferson over Franklin. And what I like to call the Presidential Bowl.
Okay.
Was there a president? Nice. Actually, Franklin Roosevelt. There wasn't a president in his last name.
No, Benjamin Franklin's there. He is on money. It's the Money Bowl.
Yeah, we'll call it the Cash Bowl. Yeah.
Cash Bowl. Okay. Yeah. For me, I'm going to go with Paradise in Region 1. I do like Jefferson in Region 2. Man. I'm going to go with Franklin in Region 3. Although, again, Columbus or Hitchcock or Westwood. It's a really interesting. I'm gonna go with Franklin Region 3. I'm gonna go with Llano in Region 4.
Okay.
I'm in.
Ashley Pickles got the orange and black pom poms out. She's fired up.
I think they can get Edna. Now I know Edna's had their number,
sure,
but just ask Ashley Pickles DMs. But I think that they can get them this year. And in a state championship game, I am going to go – I'm going to take your same title game. I'm going to go Franklin over Jefferson, though. Okay. I think Franklin gets it done.
Can we convince Ashley Pickle, if Llano makes a state championship game, to dress up in the Llano mascot outfit and take a picture?
I don't think there's any – that's easy. That's easy. Right. Consider it done.
Pickle, it's done. It's
consider
written.
It done.
It's written.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. All right.
The year of Pickle.
Year of Pickle. She gets married. She begins it by getting married, and she ends it with Llano at AT&T Stadium.
That would be the year of Pickle for real.
Absolutely.
At the Cash Bowl.
To 4A Division 2. 4A Division 2. And speaking of dynasties, here is the boy. Here's a question, Matt Stepp. Is Carthage the Texas high school football program of record right now?
Yes, because they're
only because they're reigning state champions and Alito isn't, basically?
Yes. If Alito had won a state championship, I would give Alito the nod. But because Carthage is a reigning state champion, today, August 5th, Carthage is the program of record.
Well, they start the year number 1. And
breaking news.
And now, in many respects, what we were talking about with Columbus, you want to take it and you want to do that Photoshop filter where it like turns the black into white and the white into black, like the inverse, because that's what's happening with Carthage. Carthage has kind of all of their like dudes back. Jets are out at the quarterback spot. KJ Edwards, the running back spot. Queeve Beck at the linebacker spot. All the star power is back for Carthage. However, they're losing 3 starting offensive linemen. They're losing 3. I think they run a 4-3 defense. They're losing 3 of their 4 defensive linemen. A lot of the nuts and bolts for them are going to be gone. This is a, and it's weird because like normally we're talking about the reverse for Carthage of like they're gonna be great in the trench in the nuts and bolts and they'll figure out the rest. They're gonna have stars emerge. Now they've got the stars. Can the nuts and bolts kind of fill in, which makes them fascinating to me?
You know, I trust in Scott Surratt. I mean, the guy is 83-8 in the playoffs, 83-8. And he's 10-0 in state championship games. The stats just get more ridiculous every year on Scott Surratt. I feel like talking to people in the know in Carthage, named Gabe Brooks and others, this is the year that people are like, this is Carthage's best team. This is going to be a historically good Carthage team. That's a lot to ask because Carthage has had great teams, but people in town have been waiting on this senior class for a long time. So I think there's a lot of excitement, a lot of buzz around the Carthage Bulldogs. That means the bar is really high. So I mean, that's they were state champs last year, and so that bar is super high. But you trust that they're gonna figure those things out. And I think having Jet Surratt back for a 3rd year as a starter, he's healthy. You know, a lot of people don't know this. He was not healthy in 2024 at all. He was. And they won a state championship. He played
banged up real early, and then like what kind of powered through it.
Yeah, I think he supposedly he's gotten everything taken care of. He's 100% going into the year. Is that going to open up Carthage's offense even more? You've got 2 great running backs. I think they're going to figure out the offensive and defensive lines because they play in a lot of blowouts. They play a lot of guys, and they're this is something that Scott Surratt's used to. They rotate. If you watch that state championship game, they were rotating a lot of guys in and out on the defensive line. I think they'll be fine. And they got Carson. They got 2 of the best linebackers in 4A, DeQuavis Beck, and then Carson, the A&M commit, and you got Carson Crawford, the Colorado commit. Like they're going to be really good in the defense.
So I will say, and we'll talk about them when we get to Region 2. There is a team. There may only be one, but I think there is a team. We'll talk about them when we get to Region 2. Okay, we'll start with Region 1. Region 1 of 4A Division 2 is, I think, it's the Ballad of Brock and Graham, right? Like you remember last year, Graham, Graham basically, they pulled Brock's pants down in the regular season. They absolutely dominated them, and then when they get to the playoffs, Brock 12, Graham 10 in one of the weirdest games in the state all year.
Yeah. Brock dragged Graham to the mud pit and didn't let Graham out of the mud pit. It was cold. It may have been like 40 degrees and raining. It was windy. It was a miserable night. And Brock just kind of drug Graham into the deep water and just said, "Want to fight?" And we'll fight. And they came out on top. I do think Brock and Graham, you got to start there. But I think both of those teams were wiped away by graduation. They were both hit pretty hard. So there's a lot of questions for Brock.
They graduated a combined 50 lettermen.
That's huge
crazy.
Number. Yeah, so both those teams are going to have a lot of questions. So Tepper, does that open the door? Does Glenrose ascend back? Glenrose won this region 2 years in a row. Or do we have a team from out west that's ready to take a step. I'm looking at you, Seminole. Can Seminole possibly make a move and be the team of record this year in Region 1?
I'll go a step further. I think you've got the right region. Oh, I'm sorry, the right district, but maybe the wrong team. Matthew, the Greenwood Rangers are sitting right there. And I know they lose one of our favorite players in Landon Butts, who was such a star for them at the linebacker spot. But Lincoln Madrid, Dylan Payton, Nathaniel Romero, they are loaded coming back from a 10-win team a year ago.
They beat Seminole last year. They beat them in a close game last year. So, I think Greenwood and Seminole, if you're out west, you're wanting to dream on somebody, I think Greenwood and Seminole are the two teams that you can really dream on. And then I guess if you really want to get weird, Tepper, Lubbock Liberty, year 2, the year 2 bump. Lubbock Liberty, they went through some struggles last year in their first varsity season. They bring back every single player from last year's team. I think Lubbock Liberty, if you're wanting like just a get weird sleeper, maybe the Patriots.
I don't disagree with you. I would also look at Eagle Mountain, another second-year program. But they're in the wrong district. They're with Brock and Graham, and that's the problem. Let me ask you a question. Because one of the teams that I think was one of the real surprises in this region was Benbrook last year.
Yeah.
Hit hard by graduation, lose a lot of their play. Is this a step back, you think, for them?
No, I think Benbrook has a chance to. They lose a lot of the guys up front, but they got a lot of their skill back. We saw them at state 7-on-7 make a great run. So we know they got skill talent. I think they're probably a step behind Glen Rose, but I think that they made a surprise 3rd-round run. I think they can repeat that. And the other team, Lubbock Estacado, year 2 under Eric Ward, 26 lettermen returning, 14 starters back. Estacado is going to have one thing that everybody outside of Benbrook doesn't have, and that's a lot of team speed. So does Estacado make a move after kind of, they went through some struggles in year 1 under Ward, but they've got a lot of guys back. So I think Region 1, it starts with Brock and Graham, but I think there's a second tier of teams that gap is pretty close. So I think it makes Region 1 across the board a lot of fun, but it's almost like it's hard to pick against one of those two teams.
I would agree. To Region 2, which is where Carthage lives, and now we can talk about the team that I think is the best chance to beat them. Because if you want to talk about programs that may have their best team in quite a while, and that's saying something, Matt Stepp, what Josh Gibson has cooking at Pleasant Grove this year is scary. Scary.
They gave Carthage a pretty tough game in that regional final last year, losing 28-7. That was a 14-7 game into the 4th quarter. They bring back a ton. I mean, you've got 17 starters back, 32 lettermen. Quarterback position, they've got a new guy at quarterback. They've got the Yancey kid whose dad got hired on staff, moved in from White. That's going to be – but other than that, they've got experience everywhere else. It's hard to say this is the best team Pleasant Grove's had because 2023 was really, really good. They got beat by Carthage in a real controversial game. And then I think the very first state champion, 2017, that team was unbelievable. So they've had some great teams at Pleasant Grove, but the program Josh Gibson has built at Pleasant Grove is it's unbelievable.
It is. And this is going to be a really, really special team that I think we have the number 2 in the state for a reason. I think that they may be the chief challenger. And look, if things break the way that it has, playing on Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? Thanksgiving,
and they played at Longview and Pine Tree. I almost think you have to go back to Longview because that game, those two teams play in their 3rd round, and they're both 12-0. That there's going to be 10,000 plus at that game. I mean, they're going to be sitting on the hill there at Lobo Stadium.
The interesting question I have in Region 2, Matt, so let's just say in some order right now, Carthage and Pleasant Grove 1 and 2. Okay. Who's number 3? Because I think you can make an argument for like 7 teams to be the 3rd best team in Region 2.
I'm going to go Sunnyvale. They beat Gilmer last year, and they bring back a ton. I think Gilmer's going to be really good, especially in the trenches, but Gilmer's got questions at the skill spots, which is weird to say because Gilmer almost always has good skill players. They're just going to be young at the skill spots. I think Sunnyvale, the experience at quarterback, I think Sunnyvale beating Gilmer last year gave them a ton of confidence. So I think Sunnyvale might be the 3rd best team.
I really like Athens. David Richardson is back, and he was banged up last year, but he's fully healthy now at the quarterback spot. Jabari Taylor, their two-way star, he's picked up some offers from places like UTSA. But then it's like, okay, Gilmer is a team that I think is one of, tradition carries so much. They got hammered by graduation. Only 4 starters back from last year's ball club. However, again, Alan Metzel, he gets the button. He gets to wear the ball knowing dude button, and their tradition carries them forward. Van, I think, is not going away. I think center is going to be good. I'm into Sanger. I'm really into Sanger.
Sanger lost 3 district games by a combined 4 points last year.
Yeah,
that 3 district games by combined 4 points. They bring back, I think, 10 starters on defense. Mm-hmm. Chad Rogers has got something cooking there at Sanger, so watch out for them.
Van Alstyne, Spring Hill, I think what I'm saying is that, yes, I agree in some order, Carthage and Pleasant Grove at the top. Mm-hmm. And then that middle class, so to speak, is so fun and is going to make for really good playoff games when we get there. It'll be good.
I mean, last year Athens and Van was a first round playoff game. That's awesome.
That's a really, really good reason. Okay. On to Region 3, where the team that played in the state championship last year, I think, surprised some people by getting there, including us. The La Vega Pirates live. And one of the things that I love about this region is that you just have this large swath of the state. You've got a lot of Southeast Texas, but also Central Texas. And what I am fascinated by here, when you take a look at this La Vega team, they will bring back something that they haven't had in a long time, which is a certified dude at quarterback.
Yeah.
When I think of La Vega football, it's okay, I bet they're going to bring back a running back who's going to be really good.
Yeah, and they're going to have a linebacker who's going to knock the snot out of you.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
This year, it's they got Courtney Parr back at quarterback, and he got better and better and better as the season went on. And we know how good that defense is going to be coached by Don Hyde. That's not that, death taxes and a Don Hyde defense.
Yeah, Jabari Thornton at receiver. Yeah.
Man, I like this La Vega team a lot. 14 starters back from last year. It's funny to say this about La Vega. If they find a running back, they're going to be really good. And if they find help in the secondary, they're going to be really good. Well, what have they always hung their hat on?
They've always had a guy. They'll have a young guy waiting in the wings, ready to step in.
Absolutely.
So don't worry about that too much. I think the rest of the region is fascinating. Mm-hmm. Sealy, Kane Killo. Mm-hmm. There's not a more dynamic player in the region than Kane Killo. Belleville just played for a state championship a couple of years ago. They're going to be in the mix. I know they struggled a little bit last year. West Orange Stark.
They're back. They're back. Capital B back.
Tepper, I love Silsby. If Silsby can answer the running back question, I think Silsby, they are loaded everywhere else. I think they had a great year last year. I think Silsby's fun to watch. Robinson might have one of the best players in the region nobody's talking about in quarterback Bryce McCurdy. This is a good and deep region, a lot of fun, a lot of good football teams.
It is, and I would look at Hampshire Finette, a team that won 10 games a year ago and gave Sealy a game they won in the regional final. You see what I did? I muted my mic when I sneeze. That was great.
Pro move right there. How about West Columbia? Dasi Abdallah, the U of H commit. He's a lot of fun. This is a fun region. A lot of good football players.
A lot of playmakers here. And I would say that when you take a look at Region 3, yes, I think La Vega starts on top and they deserve to. But, for example, they've got 5 teams in the top 11. That, to me, speaks to the depth of the region. And whoever comes out of there is going to be a problem for Region 4. And, okay. Let's talk about Region 4, and the conversation has to start with the program that has owned Region 4, which is Wimberley.
Yeah.
Every single year, they're going to be great. And now, for the first time in what feels like forever, we have there's some actual
questions.
Gone is Cody Stover, their outstanding their outstanding quarterback who was spectacular. Gone is Doug Warren.
Yeah, he retired.
Their head coach as he retired after we talked about him on this program about what a legend he is and one of the most underrated coaches in Texas high school football history. Wesley Lambert takes over, an internal hire, and there are real questions. There were going to be real questions about Wimberley regardless of who was coaching them.
Yes.
Now the questions I think are a little bit more potent. The cupboard. I want to be clear. Like the cupboard is far from bare. They're going to be just fine. Like,
they're going to be good. They're going to be really good. They're a regional contender, no doubt. But I think the gap. I think there's a strong case to be made. Wimberley does not win Region 4 this year.
There's a couple of teams that can up and get them. One of them, I would say two of them from the same district, District 15, in Cuero and in Sinton.
Mm-hmm. I love Cuero this year. I like Cuero a lot.
Cuero is going to be good in all of the right ways, in the sense of like they're going to be really good up front. They are like their JV team went 10-0. Like this is in a lot of ways they are like if you were to draw up what a questionnaire looks like for a team that is ready to make that leap and to win their region and maybe play for a state championship, like Cuero ticks all of those boxes.
Tradition-rich program. Mm-hmm. They bring back a lot. They've got a lot of talented young guys. They've got experience. They actually have depth at quarterback. So Jackson Marie was the starter last year. He got hurt, I think, in the 4th or 5th game of the year. Mm-hmm. Jace Guajardo comes in and plays for 4 or 5 games, and Marie comes back and they're splitting time. They got 2 capable guys at quarterback. Mm-hmm. Walker Dietz at wide receiver is a dude who can stretch the field.
Awesome. And make plays. Walker Dietz rules.
And I'm going to go out on a limb here, Tepper. I feel confident Cuero is going to find a running back. The Gobblers will find a running back. Yeah, so I think Cuero's got the makings of a regional contender. Sinton, I've got questions. They graduated a little heavier. They beat Cuero last year in the regular season, made a deep playoff run, but they lost a lot. I think Mike Troutman's going to have those guys ready, but I think there's questions there for the Sinton Pirates.
A team that I think is a potential like mystery guest here is Lago Vista. This is a team that, again, last year 9-4, like a little bit of up and down year. They do lose Swade Griffin, who I thought was their best overall player.
Oh yeah,
but they
Arizona, I think.
Yeah, but they bring back Brock Morton, Cedric Griffin. They got a running back, Noah Arambula, who was really strong for them last year, like a 1,500-yard rusher. Lago Vista is interesting within that region, like basically, especially within that district with Wimberley, because between Wimberley, Lago Vista, Geronimo Navarro, Salado, it's a good district there in District 13.
It's the best district in Region 4 by far.
Wimberley's just been so good that like it's kind of overshot. Now it's like, okay, does it a little bit.
Agree. Yeah, I that's a great point about Wimberley having kind of dominated the region so much. We haven't talked about those other teams. I think that gap is closed, and I think you can see Lago Vista. Navarro's got a new coach, new offense. We'll see how they go. Salado, it's a deep district. It's the best district in Region 4 by far, and I think that's we're gonna get a good idea. If Wimberley dominates the district like they have in the past, then we'll know, okay, same old Wimberley. But if those games are closer, if they drop a game, then we know they're kind of vulnerable.
Right. It's a fascinating region there in Region 4. Figures to be fun. All right, Matthew, give me your 4A Division 2 regional picks and state championship pick.
I'm going to go real chalky in Region 1 and 2. We're going to go Brock, Region 1, Carthage in Region 2. Going to go even chalkier, Region 3, and go Waco La Vega. And in Region 4, I'm going to go Cuero. And I think we're going to get a state championship rematch, Carthage and Waco La Vega. And can't pick against Scott Surratt in a state championship game. So give me Carthage over La Vega.
Region 1, give me Greenwood.
I knew you were going to do it.
Taking Greenwood. I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready. Embrace me, Midland. I'm ready. Greenwood in Region 1.
The tall city loves you, Tepper.
I'm going with Carthage in Region 2.
Okay.
I'm going to go with La Vega in Region 3. And in Region 4, oh, man, it's so hard to pick against Wimberley. They always make us look dumb when we do it.
I know.
I'm not falling for it. Wimberley in Region 4. I'm not falling for it.
Same for three, Nolan up Greenwood, yeah. So okay.
Yeah. And in the state championship game, I agree. Give me a championship game rematch, and the result is the same. I like Carthage over La Vega in a state championship game in 4A Division 2. It'll be fun. I feel good about none of those regional picks. maybe Carthage, but like they've also got the second best team in the region.
Yeah, it's like,
right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I feel good about any of them. So anyway, there you go. There's 4A Division 2. Now, Matthew, it is on to Region 4. Region 4. 4A Division 1. We'll get to Region 4 in a second.
We will get to Region 4.
We will.
4A Division?
I present to you, Matt Stepp, 4A Division 1, which is you either have to be one of the most decorated, one of the most tradition-rich, pedigree-laden programs in Texas high school football. Teams like Salina, teams like Kilgore, teams like Stephenville, even a team like Lavernia, right? Or you have to have no pedigree at all.
Yeah.
At all in order to be in contention here. There's really like the middle ground here is probably like, I don't know,
Chapel Hill,
City, even like Alvarado, like I don't know. It's so weird that there's this group of teams. Some of them are like the blue bloods of Texas high school football.
Oh yeah,
and then these other teams that just like showed up and they're just like,
who's that guy?
Hey, I heard we're having a party, and we'll start with the team that's the number one team in 4 Division 1, Salina. They're on the gatefold cover of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. And it's interesting. We might as well kind of talk about it because for Salina, they're going to be really good this year. And also, it does feel like the clock is ticking there in Salina of like, all right.
A lot's changing.
A lot's changing in a hurry. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably going to be 5A in the next realignment. A second high school is probably sooner rather than later coming. So I think Carter's story in the magazine, calling it their golden hour, this is kind of the last run. It's kind of the Michael Jordan Last Dance-esque, but for the program in a lot of ways, because things are going to change when they go 5A. They're not small town Salina anymore. It's a really fascinating kind of run. And yeah, they've got Bo Bentley back, and Bo Bentley is that dude. He's unbelievable, but they graduated a lot. On up the nuts and bolts graduated for Salina.
Yeah, and you know they've got Bo Bentley back. You know, Oklahoma commit, worthy of the hype. Like whatever you think is too much hype, it's not there yet with him because he is spectacular. Luke Biagini, the Defensive Player of the Year, is back as well. But you're right; they only bring back 8 starters from last year's team. They've got to rebuild that offensive line. The thing is, building offensive lines is kind of Bill Elliott's thing.
Yeah. Salina graduated all 5 offensive linemen. But I do feel like that Salina will find offensive linemen. But are they going to be at the quality that they were a year ago?
Yeah. And the other thing that I think is going to be interesting here is that I don't know. Well, we'll get to it, but when we go region by region. But like, I don't know that there is a team in any region that I would feel really comfortable saying they're definitely winning that region. There's some other ones we've done in the past. I'd be like, yeah, it's going to be. If Gunner didn't win 3A Division 2, Region 2, like knock me over with a feather.
Sure.
But if here. Even if there's only one, it does feel like there are some teams that can go and get those favorites that will make 4A Division 1 relatively competitive and relatively intriguing, and I would say relatively unpredictable.
Yeah, I think this is the one classification where every region has a favorite, but I think there's not that like you said, that prohibitive favorite that you're like, I'd be stunned if they didn't win the region. I think even Salina, are they the favorite in Region 2? Yeah. Would I be stunned if they didn't win Region 2? No, because you've got Sulphur Springs, you got Frisco Panther Creek, you've got some Alvarado, you've got some really good teams in Region 2 that could beat Salina. So there's no one region where I'm like, there's that bona fide, lock them in, take it to put your mortgage on it favorite.
To wit, Region 1, where where in I think we even called it on this program, one of the all-time pedigree upsets last year when Canyon West Plains beat Stephenville. That is probably where we have to start. And what is fascinating to me, let's say you believe that the top two teams in this region are Canyon West Plains and Stephenville. I think that's where I would start the conversation.
Yes, absolutely.
Here is what is fascinating to me. Canyon West Plains brings back 10 starters on offense. They are going to be absolutely loaded off offensively. Meanwhile, Stephenville brings back 10 starters on defense. And so you want to talk about strength on strength, good on good for a regional title. If it comes to that, that's all you can ask for. And by the way, you've got that's even just overlooking the idea that right now you've got a Canyon West Plains program in their fourth varsity season that looks like they are ready to make that big leap. You've got a Stephenville program, coached by a Stephenville alum that looks that is ready for their close-up. They believe this is their year. Region 1 there's no shortage of storylines, especially with regards to the teams that start at the top.
I think when you talk about West Plains and Stephenville, you look at the matchup, West Plains offense, Stephenville's defense, you give the edge to West Plains. They put up a 42 spot on Stephen. Last year, it was West Plains offense that won them that game against Stephenville. So Reed Macon, 4-year starter at quarterback. They've got a big offensive line led by a Kansas State commit on the offensive line. Kane White Tinsley, the UTEP commit, two-way superstar. They got a stud tight end move in from Bushland, 6'5", 220. He's going to fill right in. West Plains is absolutely loaded on the offensive side of the ball. The question is going to be defense, which does bring back 7, so they should be better on the defensive side of the ball. Are they better enough to take them to a state championship game appearance? That's going to be the question. I think I give them the edge over Stephenville. Stephenville is going to be very young on offense. By the way, they're opening up a new stadium this year. That's exciting. I'm going to go to the new stadium this year and check out a game there. Excited at Stephenville. For years and years and years, they've been playing at Tarleton State. Finally, they've built their own stadium. A lot of excitement in Stephenville about that defense. But I just think offensively, I think if I'm going to look at it, I give West Plains offense the edge over Stephenville's defense. And I think West Plains defense with 7 starters back is going to be improved enough where they separate a little bit from Stephenville in a potential regional final.
Well, and Stephenville has to replace a quarterback in Ryan Gafford, a running back in Sawyer Wilkerson, and their number 1 receiver in Tristan Gentry, who, by the way, is off to play at Texas Tech. They're going to be good up front. They're always good up front, and you can always count on Sterling Doty to have a great offensive line, be good in the guts of the team. They have to find some playmakers. Elsewhere in Region 1, we've talked about that this is I believe the smallest region in the state. There's only 24 teams.
Yes. Yeah.
Canyon Randall's interesting to me. This is a team that I think it's the best time to be a Canyon ISD football fan, maybe ever.
Yeah, a lot of excitement there in Canyon, and I think Randall, Dan Sherwood's done such a good job there with that program, and Randall really took the brunt when West Plains opened up. A lot of Randall is what got pulled from. So, you look at Canyon, Randall, and I think you have to think they're one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the region. Always have some good athletes. They should be pretty salty.
Lampasas will be good again. They have to find a new quarterback though, and they got hit pretty hard by graduation.
Yeah, and their stud receiver Ty Johnson moved to California.
Yeah, that's right.
At one point Lampasas had Ty Johnson and Jet Walker. Jet Walker at Georgetown.
That's right.
Grew up in Lampasas. He played his freshman season at Lampasas. Lampasas has been hit by transfers. That hurts. I think they're still going to be a good team, but losing their quarterback, it was kind of the Ty Jerome, kind of the I think that was his name, right? Ty Jerome.
Yeah, Ty Jerome. Yeah, that
was a straw that stirred that drink there for the Badgers.
It's been the off season of Tep Stepp talking about Brownwood, so we might as well continue it. Fascinating, absolute. Gerald Brixey stepping in to take over this program that the cupboard is not bare. The cupboard is not bare at all that he's stepping into. How quickly do they take to him to take over this program. Brown, I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on Brown. They feel like a real high variance team. They feel like a team that, like, if it doesn't work out, they could go 4-6 or something like that. But if it does work out, they could be given one of those, a Canyon West Plains or a Stephenville, a lot of problems deep in the playoffs.
Offensively, I think Brownwood's going to be really good. 8 starters back. They were young last year. Defensively, where's where the questions are. They only have 3 back. Mm-hmm. And I'm interested to see what Brownwood looks like scheme-wise. You know, Gerald Brixey comes from that Katy tree, I formation, run the football, play good defense. Brownwood's been in the spread for 25 years. I mean, they were one of the early spread adopters under Steve Freeman. Do they stay in that? What's Brownwood's offensive identity going to look like? That's really a big question for me.
I want to be clear. I don't think either of these teams are necessarily regional contenders, but I think that like right now, that game between El Paso Austin and El Paso Riverside is going to be, that matchup there is going to be really, really fun.
Yeah, I think that's the matchup to watch in the 9-team El Paso district. You know, what's interesting is El Paso realignment, something to watch, and it could shape Region 1 going forward. We could potentially, in 2026, have 2 El Paso 4A districts. There's 3 or 4 or 5As that could drop to 4A. It's already a 9-team district. They're going to have to add an extra district. So that could really reshape Region 1 and have you talk about domino effects and realignment, that could have it. This year, I think Riverside and Austin are clearly the 2 top dogs in this region. Austin always they're tough. They play hard-nosed football. They just don't have a lot of kids.
Yeah.
They're going to suit out about 25 kids. They got to stay healthy. They can't afford it. One injury can decimate them. Mm-hmm. That's why I give the edge to Riverside this year. They were young last year, took some lumps. They still got in the playoffs. They're competing for district championships year in and year out. I think that veteran team with Riverside this year, the depth wears Austin out in that game.
Over to Region 2. That is where Salina lives. And Salina, it is worth mentioning, lives in the best district in 4A Division 1. I don't think there's really any question about it. I mean, Salina, Panther Creek, Sulphur Springs, Aubrey, Paris, and those mighty Lake Dallas Falcons. It's a brutal District 7 4A Division 1.
In Matt Stepp's opinion, pound for pound, the best district in the state of Texas.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I want you to think about this, Tepper. Lake Dallas in 2023 as a 5A school went 10-2. 2024, they go into this district, dropping into 4A. They finished 6th.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how good this district. And they weren't a bad football team. They just got put in the wrong district. I went to a Lake Dallas game last year against Panther Creek. It took Panther Creek to triple overtime. Panther Creek was a hell of a ball club last year. That's how good this district is.
You feel like if they had better.
Go ahead.
You feel like if Lake Dallas had better alumni, it could have put them over the top.
A little more alumni support, maybe a couple extra donations from a certain alum, maybe it put them over the top. But who's to say? Just you got to make it happen. So you take a look at this district, and this is ultimately where we'll talk about Alvarado here in a second, who's very, very good. Panther Creek is going to be – it's wild to say this because this is a district that houses Bo Bentley. However, Panther Creek has more skill talent than Salina does. Yeah, you got Jalen Lott, the Oregon commit. You've got Donovan Webb, I believe, is committed to Texas Tech. Parker Ord, the BYU commit at tight end, they're loaded. And Sulphur Springs is loaded.
Yes.
There are 3 top – I think Sulphur Springs is a top 10 team in the state of Texas. And they might finish 3rd in this. And they're picked 3rd in the district.
The other thing –
unbelievable football team. And
the thing I like about Sulphur Springs is right now, as it stands on August 5th, 2025, they are the most known commodity in the trenches.
Yes.
Of any of these teams.
Vincent Johnson, I believe he's committed to TCU, is an absolute monster. Sulphur
Springs, an animal.
This senior class has dominated junior high, sub-varsity. They've been really 16 starters come back. Sulphur Springs brings 30 lettermen back. They only lost 12. 12 Letterman. The key is going to be, how does Deuce Timmons emerge at quarterback? What kind of balance does he was kind of their tailback, wildcat quarterback last year. He's taken over full-time at quarterback this year. He's got to give Sulphur Springs some balance. They're going to run the football because they've got a really good running back in Jackson Hare. Deuce Timmons is going to be able to run the ball. And those two guys combined for 33 rushing touchdowns a year ago. But they can't. They got to throw the ball a little bit. They've got to have some balance. And then how does their defense? They got 9 starters back. How much do they improve?
Then by the way, it's worth mentioning that Alvarado lives here too, and a team that I think they're not going to take the lumps that these other teams are going to take in district play. That's that's for sure. They're, in my opinion, the pretty far and away runaway favorite in District 6. Now they have to replace an all Tep and Stepp player in Cartier Collier.
Yes.
He's off to play at Tarleton, where I presume he's going to win every award they have. But they bring back DeMarcus Belton. They bring back Logan Woolard. They bring back 13th. This team is going to, if they were in any other region, this would be a team that nobody shuts up about.
Yeah, that they were 13-1 last year. Collier took them all the way to regional final. I think Alvarado early in the year, they're not going to be a finished product. They're going to be kind of one of those teams that gets better as the year goes along. I like their junior quarterback, Cam Jenkins, move in from North Crowley, stepping in at quarterback and to take over the offense. And I think they're going to lean on DeMarcus Belton heavily. That's a Division I running back. I think while Jenkins kind of gets his sea legs under him, I think that's going to help Alvarado grow. And you're right, the district's not – Kennedale's not what they were. They're good, but they're not great. So I think Alvarado will have a chance to kind of grow into their season in 2025.
I would also be remiss if I did not mention that I am high on Kimball out of Dallas ISD. I like Kimball. Like Deontay Washington, they're moving him to quarterback. Bam Harrison, what he's done there. I'm in on Kimball, not just because my mom went there, but also because my mom went there. Go Knights.
Kimball's problem, I think, is just their bi-district matchup.
Yeah, that's the problem. The problem is they're in District 8, and so they're going to get a 4th place Aubrey team.
Yeah. That's who beat him in the playoffs last year. And guess what? Aubrey went to the 3rd round of the playoffs last year. So, that's how good 7-4. Yeah. And here's the thing. I don't even think Aubrey makes the playoffs this year.
Oh?
I think Paris gets the 4th spot.
Okay. All right.
That's how good 7-4A Division I. That district is. Paris, Aubrey, and Lake Dallas are probably going to finish 4, 5, 6 in some order. You could take the 6th place team in 7-4A, and that's a 2nd place team in a lot of them. And I would say maybe in every other district in the region, they finish number 2 at worst.
Yeah, but you don't look. The thing you're not counting on is you do not walk into the Moreno family Thunderdome and come out with a win very often. I presume that's the name of the stadium.
Yeah, we're renaming it. What do you think about Springtown? I love Kane Hill at quarterback. 4 touchdowns as a sophomore. I think they're going to be good, but they lost.
I want to believe
they lost a lot around him. That's the
I think they lost 4 of their 5 offensive linemen.
8 starters graduated.
Yeah,
but I love Kane Hill.
I want to believe because I want to believe in the Pines.
I think this is probably a 3rd round playoff team is probably their ceiling. The problem
That'd be great.
They're probably going to run into a team like Sulphur Springs in the 2nd round, which is who they ran into last year in the 2nd round, and that's a really tough 2nd round matchup.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, it goes through District 7, like plain and simple. Region 2 does. Over to Region 3, where you have a team that played for a state championship last year, in the Kildare Bulldogs. And I know we got to see them at State 7-on-7. And I will just say, as a Cub reporter, I can report to you that the reports of Kilgore's demise have been greatly exaggerated.
Yeah,
they've got dogs.
Yeah, LaKeelan Graves is a monster.
Oh my God.
Jacalen Sheffield just committed to SFA. What a great pickup for SFA to get Jacalen Sheffield. Kason Brooks is back at quarterback. He's a dude. Isaiah Waters at running back. The Kilgore team offensively is going to be as good as anyone in the state. It's weird to say this, but the questions for Kilgore are going to be on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But I trust Clint Fuller. I trust Kilgore is going to find dudes to play that are going to be fast, that are going to hit you in the face, and they're going to run through your face and talk a little noise when they do it. That's what East Texas football is in Kilgore. I feel like Kilgore is going to find those guys on defense.
I think they will too. What is interesting to me is let's talk about Chapel Hill, because this is a fascinating ball club in 2025. Because they graduate, not in opinion, the most dynamic class in their school history. Okay, when you lose guys like they lost with Ricky Stewart and with what was the quarterback's name?
Demetrius Brisbane.
You lose those two guys. Those are generational players in a program. Okay, and yet, I mean, there's a lot to like about this ball club, especially on the defensive side.
They're going to be really good on defense. I think offensively, we're sleeping on them a little bit. Malik G. Brisbane getting hurt last year in the long run is great for Chapel Hill because Malik G got a lot of reps. We saw him at State 7-on-7. He looked confident, leader of that offense. They went all the way to the semifinals, by the way. They got a guy, DeMarcian Blaylock, who was hurt a lot of last year. As dynamic and as explosive a playmaker as you're going to see. The comp I'll give to DeMarcion Blaylock is Quentin Gibson for North Crowley last year. He's that kind of dynamic special player. Okay. So, I mean, there's similar types of players. And also the stories are similar. They were both hurt most of their junior year. With Quentin Gibson busted out as a senior, had a huge year. Now is at Colorado, set all kinds of records. Not saying Blaylock's going to set records, but I think he could have that type of impact in his senior year for North Crowley. For Chapel Hill, excuse me.
All right, I want to do a little bit of lightning round here with three other teams in Region 3. Okay. The other team in District 9, the Lindale Eagles. They are weird. They're hard to figure out. But I think the ceiling's really high.
I think they have a chance to be very much improved. It would not shock me if we had a Lindale, a 9-4A. Listen, 9-4A Division 1, 9-4A and 4A Division 1 in Region 3 has dominated this region for a while. Wouldn't surprise me if 3 of the 4 semifinalists are from this region. I think we could see Lindale and Chapel Hill possibly meeting up again in the third round.
Okay. Huffman Hargrave out of District 10. This is a team that went 9-2. They crashed out in the first round of the playoffs because they ran into Chapel Hill in the first round. That's a hard luck draw. But 16 starters back for this team.
Nolan Cook is a dude. 36 touchdowns last year. They've got Ryder Miller at linebacker. I think this is if Huffman Hargrave can win the district, I think they can win that. The key in District 10 is you got to get out of the first round. You got to get past District 9. Winning the district is key. I think. I think if you can draw Henderson or Pine Tree in the first round, I think you can potentially get out. But Huffman's got to win the district. They lost to Little Cypress Mauriceville last year, which ended up having them draw Chapel Hill in the first round, and they lost to Chapel Hill at home. Close game, but Chapel Hill got them.
And finally, are you picking up the pamphlet on Fort Bend Crawford?
Absolutely. This is a team that last year, no seniors, got into the playoffs, snuck in there. They bring back 40 lettermen and 22 starters. Every player is back. Alvin Mosley is a monster, one of the best players in the state. 11 touchdown catches last year. This is similar to Iowa Colony 2 years ago, their last year in 4A, and they went 12-1, lost in the third round. I think Fort Bend Crawford can have a similar type season. In fact, I'm going to say it right now. I've got Fort Bend Crawford playing Chapel Hill in the second round of the playoffs and beating Chapel Hill. I think Fort Bend Crawford is getting to a regional final this year, Greg.
Wow.
I'm buying in on David Jackson and the Chargers.
Here's what's confusing about that is that how is Fort Bend Crawford going to make it to a regional final when Liberty is making a regional final?
It's fair. Hudson Standish has told us the good news about Liberty.
That's exactly right. So buy your stock now. Okay, over to Region 4. Region 4, so right now, if you want to install in Region 1, West Plains is the favorite. And in Region 2, Salina is the favorite. And Region 3, Kilgore is the favorite. That would be a relatively chalky thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't blame you with that.
Sure.
Who's the chalk in Region 4? Like, I don't think there is one.
I think if you had chalk last year, it was LBJ or Bay City, and Lavernia said, "Hey guys, we're here. We're going to win the region." Yeah. They got it done with tough defense and a bruising running game, and Lavernia basically mauled their way to a regional championship last year.
They Region 4'd the crap out of Region 4.
Yeah, and they just said, "Hey, you know what? We're going to come out here and we're just going to beat the hell out of you and see if you like it." And they beat LBJ and Bay City en route to winning the region. Great run for them. And I think right now the question is going to be for Lavernia. I think because the region is wide open, a lot of people are going to default to them as the regional favorite, self included. How do they handle that role now that they're the hunter instead of the hunted? How do they adjust to that role?
They bring back 12 starters from a year ago, and they've got a good group of JV coming up. I don't think they're going to be very deep, which is, I think, something to keep an eye on. A team that I do think is going to be pretty deep, in part because they may be moving up to 5A, if I'm not wrong. Davenport is a really interesting ball club this year because this is, you talk about it's a fourth-year varsity program.
They won the region in 2023.
They won the region a year ago, right? JD Zimmerhansel has done an unbelievable job getting there. And they bring back, I think, one of the most underrated players in Texas high school football, and Barrett Fallon, their running back, who is like just an old school workhorse, man.
Which is odd because Davenport is kind of a really dynamic, explosive kind of spread offense. But they've got this dude at running back they can just hand the ball to 35 times and say, go win us the game. I am really intrigued by Davenport's district rival and intra-district, fellow Comal ISD program. Tepper, have you heard the good news about the Canyon Lake Hawks?
It's funny. I just did an interview with Craig Way, and he asked me about Canyon Lake.
I mean, look, they bring back all 11 starters on defense, 8 starters on offense. It's year 2 under Sam Parker, so the year 2 bump is real. And, hey, they were 8-4 last year. It's not like they were a bad football team last year. I think Canyon Lake is sneaky good enough to challenge for a regional title, which is strange to say, but I think they have the juice to make a run.
There's also there's 3 teams that have all had various measures of success within Region 4 that I think are capable of doing it. One of them, you mentioned him, was LBJ. This is a team with a ton of speed, but they graduated 20 seniors. I don't know. Like, I'm really interested. The other thing about LBJ, and I say this lovingly, their district doesn't do them any favors because they just dominate their district, and they don't see anybody in their weight class until like the second round of the playoffs.
And then sometimes it's too late. So and then
at that point, like last year, it was Lavernia.
Yeah, and 2 of their better players that were returning transferred out. So you got to deal with that as well. So there's a lot of questions with LBJ. I think a lot of questions with Bay City. Bay City was my pick to win the region last year. Really, really young on offense. They're kind of the inverse. Last year, they were really, really veteran heavy on offense, young on defense. This year, veteran heavy on defense, young on offense. How do the Black Cats offense, how do they mature and grow up? They got better during 7-on-7, but I think they kind of find their identity on offense.
And then there's Cal Allen. Second year under Charlie Reeve. He's had a full go around now. He understands the program better than he has. I know there's a lot of playmakers they like out there. Reese Rusher, Drayson Gamez, Ricardo Rodriguez. Like, they've got some dudes out there. They did win 10 games last year. Like, I mean, it's weird to say that of like, okay, like, what happened to Cal Allen when they won 10 games last year?
Yeah, we didn't talk about them a ton. I guess because we didn't expect a ton. I think 10-3, but they fell to Bay City in the third round. Sure. Bay City just had a little bit too much juice for them. I think Cal Allen, they kind of like where they're at right now. They're kind of under the radar. Nobody's talking about them. Nobody really in Corpus is even talking about them too much. It's like all the talk in Corpus is really around, Miller and kind of what can they do in 5A. And Cal Allen's sitting there kind of laying in the weeds.
They are.
And this is year 2, Charlie Reeve. I think that year 2 bump is real. I could totally see Cal Allen getting on a heater and winning this region.
Hey, the first time this has ever been said, sleeper Cal Allen
Yeah, it's weird to say, but it's absolutely a thing because they're not going to get the play that they usually get because the last couple of years they've struggled. But you're right.
Yeah.
They were 10-3 last year. They were a good football team last year, and they're only going to be better this year.
Yep. All right, Matthew, 4A Division I, give me your regional picks and your state champion.
Region 1, I'm going to go West Plains. Region 2, I'm going to go Salina. Region 3, I'm going to go Kilgore. Region 4, I went with Lavernia in my outlook. I'm going to stick with it, but I'm really torn on this, but I'll go chalk. So I'll go Lavernia here. I'm going to take West Plains and Kilgore in the state championship game. I think West Plains upsets. They almost beat Salina last year. Like West Plains had the ball in Salina territory at the end of the game trying to win the football game. I think they're better, and I think Salina maybe is a tick down from last year. So I think West Plains gets over the hump. State championship game, I'm going to go, what the hell? West Plains over Kilgore in the state championship. The Panhandle is going to win a state championship in Class 4A Division I.
Okay. All right. Matt Stepp, I don't think your state champion's even making the semifinals. I'm going with Stephenville in Region 1.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Salina in Region 2. Although I'm very tempted to take Sulphur Springs. I'm so tempted.
Stephenville Salina semifinals.
Oh my gosh.
Pedigreed as it gets.
That is old school tech. There's a bunch of old men shedding tears.
I wonder where they should play that game at Pennington Field just for nostalgia.
Yeah, there's just
play it at Pennington Field.
Everybody, just all these old men just sitting in the just reminiscing of days of old, single tears of joy streaking down their face. Region 3, I am going to go with Kilgore.
Okay.
But Chapel Hill has me really intrigued. Really intrigued.
Jeff Rivers over here going, yeah, keep sleeping on us, Step. Keep sleeping on us.
In Region 4, I'm going with Corpus Christi Cal Allen.
Okay.
I'm pulling the trigger. I'm going with Cal Allen to win Region 4. I think they are I think that is a team that among the teams right now here on August 5th, they're among the most complete. And I don't
have a problem with that at all.
In a state championship game, I'm going to go with a rematch of last year, and the result is the same. I like Salina over Kilgore. We took a much different path to get there, but the end is the same. I like Salina to go back-to-back and win a championship over Kilgore. So there's 4A Division I. Other than that, I don't really have a ton to say about high school football.
No.
Other than that, I think we're just kind of, that's fine.
Yeah, hanging out.
That's fine. Let's go to Tiny Vianney Moreno to ask her, hey, Vianney, what'd you write down? In her lavish hotel room.
Yeah, in her lavish 4 seasons VNA over
4
there.
seasons VNA.
Y'all, this was class time for me. I took so many notes.
That's how you know we did a good job.
I'm fully immersed. But there are a couple highlights. QB, I don't know what Stepp said, but you said the quarterback is the extra taco or like the gravy.
Oh, Gunner. We talked Gunner. If Gunner gets production from their quarterback, it's like the bonus taco.
It's the bonus taco.
Well,
yeah,
the bonus,
extra taco.
To go back to our Rio Grande Valley trip, the bonus hot dog.
Bonus bacon wrap hot dog, yes.
Yeah.
Bonus hot dog. Pushing the chips in for Troop, I think.
Yep.
All right.
Jamie Driscoll is ball knowing dude.
Yeah, we gotta make those buttons.
We need to make the buttons. Tep and Stepp cut the brakes. Team
Winsboro.
Yeah.
Winsboro. But Stepp, I think you've talked me into going to Winsboro, and
the only problem is if you don't go to so your other option was only in Reagan County and Cisco.
Yeah,
you'd be passing up chicken fried steak at Mary's.
It's tough. I don't know. I might put it up to like a poll on Twitter.
Ooh, I like that. A little engagement.
We're gonna go engagement farming.
Yeah.
Alan Metzel's also another ball knowing dude.
Absolutely.
It's the button. I like this one: death taxes and Adonai defense.
Yeah, for sure. Like La Vega's defense is something you can set your watch to. It's like they're always going to be very, very good, and they're always going to be very physical. and you will not enjoy playing them.
Can I add one thing to Don Hyde? Death taxes and a Don Hyde defense. Can I add one? Death taxes, a Don Hyde defense, and Don Hyde cursing on the air.
Absolutely, yes. Every single time.
He's gonna say a curse.
Wait, last one. Yeah. You said embrace me, Midland.
In Greenwood, I'm ready.
Yes,
I'm ready. Greenwood.
Tepper's ready for the warm embrace of the 4-3-2.
Let's go. I'm ready. That is going to do it for us. We will be back next week with our 5A preview. Thanks to V&A Moreno for putting up with us. Stepp, thanks for your courage.
See you later.
Talk to you next week on Tep and Stepp.
Bye.